Hi, guys. Welcome back to the second annual Female Disruptors Virtual Summit. We have a really great presentation here for you today, and I am very excited to present to you Kate Buck Jr. She is the founder and CEO of Social Media Pro, and she actually got her start on Twitter in 2008, where she basically gravitated as a social media expert very quickly. And in 2010, she launched her first online course, now known as Social Media Manager Pro, and her students have gone on to start their own agencies, become influencers, work at major brands like Facebook and Meta. And she has trained over 35,000 social media managers, built her own agency, consulted with top brands, and has been a speaker on stages including South by Southwest and the Traffic and Conversion Summit. So if you're starting over from scratch, ready to say out with the old and in with the new, then this conversation is going to be for you. Kate, I'm going to turn it over to you. I know you've got 10 steps on how to start over from scratch in life and business. And we're very excited to hear about your story and learn how we can move forward in any situation and become unstoppable.
Thank you, Jess. I really appreciate your introduction, and I'm so excited to be here. This is my first time speaking at the Female Disruptors Summit. So I'm super excited, and I'm excited to share my 10 steps from starting over from scratch. Number one, I mean, it's a great time of year to be talking about starting over from scratch, but you can actually start over from scratch any day. The sun rises every morning, and that's kind of one of my guiding principles is you can even start over from scratch in the middle of the afternoon just by taking a deep breath. And I'm always like super grateful for that. But just through my life experiences and having been an entrepreneur in the emerging tech space to begin with, and then having found myself in a business and life partnership that wasn't serving me, I have several times throughout my career had to literally start over from scratch. Most recently, on January 1st, 2020, I separated from my business and life partner, and he took the business with him, through, of course, my own negligence for sure, but he had the ability to actually take a business that you just mentioned that I started myself back in 2010. And so I was left sort of with, I had no clients, I had no business, I had no income, I had no relationship. And here I was, 40, just turned 40 years old and found myself moving home to live with my family for a little while to literally start over from scratch. But while that's always like a fearful time, there's the beauty in it as well, right? Because now you kind of have this blank canvas that you get to create from. And what I noticed this time as I was rebuilding and kind of compiling my 20 years of in the human potential and personal development space, like mixing and matching in like this little cauldron of my own tools, all of a sudden months and a year, and now we're at 3 years, down the road, I started to notice that it was all working, like it's all working and that there was a system to this and that it made sense. And I'm here calling in from Costa Rica, where I'm spending a month here with the new love of my life. And my business is thriving with many opportunities. I even was approached to be acquired last year. My health is doing really well. And so people started asking me, well, what did you do? So I put together this little session of the 10 things that I feel like I have done each time I have had to start over from scratch, and particularly this time where I was able to come back and build back stronger and better than ever. So I do have some slides, although they're not necessary, but I'm going to go ahead and share them if it helps some of us kind of to keep up visually. So these are my 10 steps from starting from scratch, and I'm going to go into present mode on Canva there. Okay, great. All right, so step one is get clear on what you want. So sometimes what that means is getting clear on what you don't want, right? So if you're like Jess said, if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you're in a repetitive loop, if you feel that that whole idea of the insanity of banging your head against the wall and like hoping something will change, but nothing's changing, then you need to stop and get clear on what you want. Now, sometimes you don't have all this. When I say get clear on what you want, I don't necessarily mean that you need all the specifics about what you want, but you definitely need to know, how do you want to feel, right? So the first thing to start with is getting clear on what you want. And what I mean by that is getting clear on how you want to feel in your future self, and make it as vivid as you possibly can. So I'm a big meditator. You may not be into meditation specifically, so you could journal. You could, just close your eyes, put your hand on your heart, and just imagine yourself in the future having accomplished your goals. And what does it feel like in that moment? Let's see. Okay, good. The step 2 is to make the decision. So people come to me, I have a couple coaching students, and they come to me and they're ready to, they know what they want for their future, but they haven't made the decision yet. And that is like a longing. That is when you feel like, this is what I want in my future, but like, I'm not there yet, or I don't know how to get there, or you just want it, but you feel you're having a pity party, is the truth of it. You want something for the future. You want to be healthy. You want to grow your business. You want to make more money. Whatever it is, you want to be in a relationship, whatever it is that you want, but you don't have it. But you haven't made the decision yet. Usually that feels like you're stuck in some feeling of lack, like I don't have it. And that usually looks something like a pity party. So if you find yourself there, then you need to make the decision. And for me, actually, this step 2 seems to be, repetitively speaking from my friends, the most important part to breaking the cycle, that loop that I mentioned that you're in, is making a firm decision that never again, never again, make a vow to yourself. It can be silent, it could be loud, you could write it, you could hang it somewhere, but you need to make a firm decision. So the way everything is energy, the way things work is when you're attached to some old way of being, in order to shift yourself into a new way of being, you have to break the bond to the old way of being. Usually we're addicted to some behavior. We like suffering, we like bonbons. It's just natural that we're like that. And in order to change, you have to just get really, really, really clear that no matter what, that you're never, ever, 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 ever gonna feel that way again, and that you have the responsibility to fix and change that. Now, that doesn't mean that in the moment everything changes, although in some ways it does, but it does mean that you now have begun the process of moving forward in a new direction. If you skip this step, you will continue to stay stuck in that same loop. So sometimes we think we've made the decision, like we're just sick and tired of being sick and tired, but you're just not to that place where you have declared, like drawn a line in the sand. I'm trying to find 100 ways to say it, where you made that promise to yourself that the way forward is forward, and we're never going back again. We're going to find whatever resources it takes. We don't know the plan, but we know without a shadow of a doubt that the future outcome that we just envisioned is inevitable. And then we move into the next step, because I started to go into it just then. Step 3 is to believe fully. So any lack of belief in yourself to achieve your dreams will hold you back. Okay. So when we believe fully, it doesn't mean, again, in this moment, that you know exactly everything that you need to know, or that you have already become the person that you need to become in order to accomplish your goals. But what it does mean is that you believe fully in your power to change your situation. You believe in your resourcefulness to get the things that you need in order to change or make a difference in this situation. And so you have to believe fully that it's inevitable, it's going to happen, that you deserve it, that you are worthy of it. And this isn't from a place of like entitlement, right? This isn't from a place of like, well, I deserve this, because that is just, that is not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here is that, in a world where anything's possible, if someone else, another human being, has the potential and is able to capable of accomplishing something, then you can too. It's like the 4-minute mile, right? Once the first person broke the 4-minute mile, then like more people after that were able to do it. People tell me all the time, I could never quit drinking coffee. I could never do that. Well, that's not true. That's a story that you tell yourself. If you were really committed and you really wanted to quit and you'd made the decision, you would quit drinking coffee. That's just one of those kind of like examples of something that's kind of silly that people tell me, oh, I could never fast or I could never do that. And it's just not true. It's in the realm of human potential. It means every human has the capability to achieve the same thing as the most successful people. So you have that in you, and you must believe that fully. And you want to, and part of believing fully is that expectation of the deservingness and knowing that without a shadow of a doubt, if you work hard enough, if you put your all into it, if you believe that it's going to turn out. And that is not just positive thinking, woo-woo language. That is actual laws of physics that bring things to your life, and including gratitude, which gets thrown around a lot. Like we should be grateful for so many things in our life, but truly just knowing that you are capable of achieving anything that you want to achieve will bring, and having gratitude for just knowing that will start to shift the energy around this area in which you want to make a change. Now, memorize these feelings, the feeling of achievement, the feeling of belief, right? You need to memorize and anchor them in. And when it's challenging, when you fail, when you slip up, when you make a mistake, when you're not getting there fast enough, in the challenging moments, you have to really anchor those feelings in that we've been talking about. What does it feel like when you're successful? How does gratitude for it having already happened? Do you believe fully? You want to memorize these feelings, and memorization is just neuroprogramming. So what that means is you just need to practice those feelings and saying those words to yourself, over and over and over again until you memorize the feeling so much that almost you're living your life anyway. Whether you've reached your goal or not, you're still living the feelings of success of the goal before it's even happened, okay? So the name of the game is to try to stay in this state all day, not just your, morning practice for 10 minutes where you write your goals and you feel it, and then off you go to the, your commute and your morning traffic and, that whole thing. And all of a sudden you're angry and irritated and annoyed at work and your coworkers and your Zoom call or whatever. The name of the game is to try to stay in that vision of the future for the whole day. That often means we need something called a pattern interrupt. And so this is something that's scheduled in your calendar, or I use an app called the I Am app that snaps me back throughout the day, because we're going to go unconscious to this 100 times a day. Okay, 100 times a day, you're going to forget your future. You're going to forget your vision. You're going to forget your goals. You're going to forget you want, because you're just going to be so darn annoyed. Did your mother really just say that? Did she really? Did your friend? Right? Audacity is at an all-time high these days. So I can tell you for sure, you're going to get thrown off constantly, or you're just going to get immersed in something. When Jesse and when I broke up with my ex, or when we broke up, I found myself in loops. I was still yelling at him in my head all day long, just talking. It was like some, mild form of PSTD or something. And I just thought wow, how long have I been doing that? I don't even know how long I've been doing that. And so I found this app, and I started with 15 minutes, and then I went to 30 minutes, and then I went to 45 and an hour. And now I hardly ever look at it, but it just sent me a little prompt with an affirmation on it. And for me, that was enough, where I remember one day I looked down at my phone, and I had been in that loop in my head about whatever it is that you're in a loop about. It's not productive, by the way. It's not helping. It's not fixing. It's a waste of energy. And it's just a negative downward spiral. And I'm not, again, saying that you should never get angry, but I just looked down at my phone and it said, oh, I am peaceful and blah, blah, blah. And I remember the voice in my head going, I'm not peaceful, whatever. And then I went, oh, wait, oh yeah, that's why I have the app, was so that I stop. I must be in one of those loops. How long have I been there? And I got how important the pattern interrupt was So you can put things on your house. Your most valuable real estate is your screensaver on your phone, because you look at that 100 times a day. Your wallpaper on your computer, like positive thinking reminders, and don't ignore them. You set this structure up because you wanted to change. So don't ignore these reminders that you made for yourself when you were in this awesome place. Step 6, proximity is power. So this is about get your group tight, get your girl group, get your supporters tight. No negativity allowed. Get closer to the people that support you, cheer you on, keep you in a positive mental state. And even if it's just for the time that you're working on this, let's say you have a really good friend, but when the two of you get together, you tend to gab and gossip, or whatever, for a period of time. I kind of do this action, I've noticed, where I'm like, just for now, just for this week or this month or this time, like, can I just keep that thing over there? Like, I just need some distance, right? I need a little bit of distance from whatever that is. I need to stay in this positive space. You can always go back to it. It's always over there. It's always just, that friend. Like, maybe just have a conversation and like, hey, invite them to join you on your positivity challenge or whatever it is you want to call it for the next few months. But you've got to be intentional about your mental space, your physical space. And if that means for a period of time, not talking to people, or Dr. Dispenza says to let people know, leave a voicemail on your voicemail that says, you're making some changes in your life. And so go ahead and leave a message. But if you don't call them back, then you know that they're one of them. I love that. Like, this is your life and this is your future. And you shouldn't, I know we have obligations to people in life. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like that. I have people in my life that I'm still close with, or that, I have an obligation to take care of. But, for the most part, your job in life really is to yourself. Your first commitment needs to be to yourself, and everyone around you should respect and appreciate that. And if they don't, then you have to consider changing the relationship, even if that is with somebody that's in your family, really immediate. Grown-up conversations about, I'm really sorry, but this conversation or this relationship is not healthy for me. So from now on, I'm checking in with you once a month instead of once a week, mom, or whatever, sis, dad, whoever it is, right? So remember that your space, the proximity to you, the closer something gets, the more powerful it is. So the further distance you can put between you and the things that are not good for you, the more chance you have to stay in a good state and not get triggered and reverted back to those old ways of being. Now, if you have no idea where to start, you're like, this is all great, Kate, but I've done all of these things, but now, like, how do I actually get moving forward? Start here. And this should say, start with your physical body, because whether that's that you want to, even if it's a business goal, even if it's a relationship goal, starting by working on yourself is as simple as starting with your physical body. If this just means drinking more water throughout the day, or starting to take a new supplement regimen, or switching up your diet, or movement through physical activity, whether that's even just yoga or stretching or anything, when we start to work on our physical body, something happens that's called bleed theory. And that bleed theory means that we've started something new. We're moving energy in our body. Literally, stuff that's stuck starts to come out, and that starts to bleed over in other places. So a simple, small 5-10 minute, I'm not telling you to go hire a trainer and get rough at the gym. I'm just saying, start small, but start with your physical body if you don't know where to start. And a lot of times things just start to fall into place from there. Step 8, let's see, how am I doing on time? All right, step 8 is called an integrity file. So an integrity file is where you make a list of all that stuff, and I use my project management software for this, but make a list of all that stuff that is outstanding. All those bills that, you haven't paid, that car part that you needed to, get fixed, that you've just been dragging your feet about. This morning I was trying to hot glue my earbud thing back on because it's just been hanging out. It's just that stuff that's just accumulating. That stuff is mind clutter, right? That stuff is mind clutter. You think about it, you don't know, but it's just chewing, 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 chewing. That refund, that thing in the, those Amazon boxes that you needed to return, that return to, Kohl's or whatever that you haven't sent yet. Like, you just need to make a list and start doing it. And I highly recommend that you guys consider, if you're busy working full time, you have a business, you have multiple businesses, multiple jobs, whatever it is, please invest in yourself and get a personal assistant to help you with some of those things, even if it's a couple hours a week. Someone to come and clean and do the laundry and take the returns to Amazon is a huge, huge, huge relief. And it could cost you as little as like 50 to 100 bucks, a week. And that, again, could sound like a lot, but the mental relief will allow you to go be more productive and to go be more invested and creative and focused on the things that are important to you, especially your goals. And so don't feel like having assistants are for people that have, are at some certain place in their life or have a business. My friend that, one of my friends that was formerly at Meta, I really encouraged her, like, the company's not getting you an assistant. I mean, it's not their job. Like, just hire an assistant for yourself. She's booking the vet appointments and doctor's appointments for the kids and, just handling bill payment and stuff like that. It's like 1 hour, 2 hours a week of your life that you get back. And I guarantee you, however much you're paying that person per hour, if you get paid more per hour, if your time is worth more, then having them go to or use the services like Instacart and, have people go grocery shopping for you, like, unless you really enjoy it and you get pleasure and benefit out of these things, stop doing things that aren't the best use of your time. Just stop them, immediately. So creating an integrity file is about making a list of all your stuff that's just gnawing at your brain that you need to get done and making a commitment to get it done. That all being moved out of the way, look what we're doing. Again, we're creating distance from negativity. We're moving stuff. We're just creating space where your new, like, imagine your future could never show up. All your goals and dreams, they could never show up in this space because it's so full. All the space around you is full already. And so we need to clear some stuff out and make space so new things can show up. So, like, seriously, step 9 is we're just now talking about making a plan, right? Because there's all this preparation that you have to do. Just like when you're cooking an amazing meal, there's a lot of preparation that you have to do in order for the moment. We have now been doing a lot of preparation for the moment. And so making a plan is now you're likely in a space where you're starting to get clearer and clear about the precise thing that you want. And you can work backwards. I love EOS, the technology of the entrepreneurial operating system. Don't have to just use it for business. You can use it in life, but work backwards from your goal 1 year out. There's a really great book by called Vivid Vision, where you create a 3-year vision for yourself. And then you work backwards. So I love those 2 resources when you get to the place, if you need some support in creating a vision and then making a plan to move closer to your vision. And part of those things could be these steps we've talked about. The integrity file is a milestone on your way to creating your vision. Physical health is a milestone on your way. Some of these conversations, these are necessary things that you have to do to shift things in your life so that you can get where you want to go. And the last and most important part is get started and take action. So if you spend all the time to put all these things in your calendar and make the plan and read the books and go to the classes, and I know you ladies are just like me, you listen to all the podcasts, you read all the books, you go to all the seminars, you hired all the healers, you went to all the doctors, you read all the blogs, you're consuming you're here consuming this you're here on Female Disruptors, you're taking all the classes, you're doing it. We're doing all these things, but are we doing them in an organized way towards our goal, or are we just consuming information as a way to actually avoid taking action, committed action towards our goal? So like I've just had this thought in my head that I sound like a motivational speaker or something. I'm totally not a motivational speaker. I just want you to actually move towards your goal and not do things that you are pretending are moving you towards your goal when they're actually not moving you towards your goal. Show up. Do not ignore those appointments. The vows you make to yourself are the most important ones for you to uphold. If you can keep a
Yes.
promise to everyone else, you can keep this promise to yourself. So that is my 10 steps to starting over from scratch. I know we only have a couple of minutes
Yeah.
left.
If anybody's got
And
questions, go ahead and drop them into the chat. Kate, that was awesome.
yeah,
First of all, thank you
thank
so much for
you.
sharing your story. It resonated so much with me. I've been there. I've had to strip things away and start over from scratch. I think most of us have. And I just want to point out something that I really took away from these 10 steps, which are just perfect. And I've written all of them down and I'm going to put them on my board so that I can see them every day. But I really took away that it's a practice, it's not really like a one-time cycle and done. You don't have to wait for your world to fall apart in order to start over. Like you mentioned right before we got on the call, like you can
Yes,
start over in the middle of the day. You can start over every morning. It doesn't have to be,
yes.
your world falling apart in order to feel like you need to start over. So really taking these steps and practicing them and implementing them in your daily life, I think is going to be really important.
Yeah, don't wait for your health crisis. Don't wait. And
Yeah.
even now for me, I'm in this space of a new vision for myself now. So the vision is never ending. We're always to the next thing. So
Awesome.
yeah, it totally is a practice. Thank you for mentioning that. And I just wanted to shout out because I am giving away a freebie to my Metaverse Social Summit. All the female disruptors are getting a free pass. So I know there'll be a link somewhere
Yep.
around here in my emails. That's my free gift to you all. It's like 9 sessions. Lisa was an amazing speaker there, and
Awesome.
a bunch of other amazing folks. So I'd love to give that away as my gift to all the female disruptors that are here investing in themselves today.
Sweet. Awesome. We will make sure to get that to them. Kate, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and enjoy your time in Costa Rica. It looks beautiful.
Thank you. All right. Bye.
Bye, guys.